Welcome back for the energy tips for week 10. That is 2nd of March till 8th of March 2019. Thank you guys for supporting transCODES here at Patreon. Thank you for being a heart warrior. You guys make all this possible. So let's dive right into the next week. You have probably already seen this in the energy update. This is a bifurcated week. Bifurcated meaning that there's two arrows. All right, this can go either way. But, I'm assuming that if you have been following the energy tips here, the forecasts and so forth, if you are actively working with us here at transCODES and all those transmissions and workshops of the Sacred Self-Healing course, then you are well prepared. Next week is a week of deep trauma healing, of deep emotional processing. And so all these things that have been coming forward here in these past couple of weeks, I know that many of you are doing a really, really good job with allowing all this to come forward. You have to be a little careful to not get pulled into the abyss next week, okay, into the depths of it, okay, because it goes so strongly into your core programming, all right, that you may end up with guilt, with shame, with all these things that you already know really get you into this belief that the world is bad or everybody is hostile and I'm worthless or I'm not deserving. This is like sort of anti-self-love, all right, just to keep it simple. So don't get pulled into this next week, all right. Let's look at the chakras involved here, and then you can maybe see how I contextualize things for you. So last week we talked about family constellations, and that is usually, first and second chakra. Then we talked about some of the aspects that come in with, like allowing some of these larger tapes, these domino effects to be seen, these patterns, all right? And you guys are all pretty good at this already to identify some things, but the part here that is often still a bit tricky is the contextualization, all right? Just perhaps because you found out that there were things that you were set up for, as a child through the family constellation or, through how your parents handled things, doesn't necessarily mean that you are stuck or that you are doomed. It just means that, these are things that you have a predisposition for. And all these things that we have a predisposition for, we call those karma. Those are the things that we are born with in order to experience what we need to experience so that we can finally transcend it, so that we can finally go past it, break through it. And we do this as individuals as well as collective. So the whole entire collective has to go through this process. And the reason why I called this exciting times in the energy update is because this is happening live right now, guys. The whole entire collective is breaking through this truth barrier, okay? So coming to the chakras here, the chakras mostly affected are our 4th and 6th continued, which has to do with really growing into who we truly are and seeing the truth of what we brought into this life, including karmic tasks, including those core programmings that we have, including our purpose in life. All this goes hand in hand. So if we stay in denial, or if it's too painful for us to look at some of these aspects, and we prefer to see ourselves as a victim, or we prefer to become resentful or vengeful, all right, then it will not be possible for us to break through this. Then you basically fulfilling the setup. Okay, the setup is the pattern that you end up in, that you keep replaying. That's the tape, that's the domino. All right. Your energetic sensitivity, you being an empath, and the problems that arise out of that, right? Like the problem with all these physical sensations, these energetic weirdo things, right? That have isolated you from when you were a child. that you know, forced you to go internal and to really ask yourself, what is this and what can I do? It has also developed a lot of ego coping mechanisms, obviously, but some of which are here to propel you, all right? What this energetic sensitivity serves you is that you actually have a functioning lexicon of these sensations and feelings, which is huge compared to most other people. You are able to contextualize certain things. You may not be able, perhaps yet, to see the larger picture, but this is coming in here in March and starts with next week. It's actually a really, really beautiful process. I call this light bulbs coming on, you know, you'll like, bam, you're going to see things that you couldn't see before. And it's such a beautiful and healing experience because you don't have to beat yourself up for stuff anymore, or you don't have to be mad at other people anymore either. You know, you just see it for what it is and you can detach from it. Okay, so that's what the 4th and the 6th chakra activation can do for you. Now, there's a little backdraw with this next week, and that is that the 5th chakra, this is your expression, your self-actualization, is restricted, meaning that you may feel like you can't find the right words, or things are not being released properly, okay? So this is where my concern comes from, that some of you may actually get caught in this frustration, in this fear, in this depression, because you can't really get things out. So don't overreact to this, and don't absorb too much either. That's why I talked so much about the physical balance here in the energy update, because if you repress, then at some point you can't take it anymore, and the energetic stress on your system gets too much, and then it comes out explosively, then it comes out in a damaging way, in a hurtful way, or sometimes even self-destructive way. Okay, not to mention, of course, the addictions that usually kick in when we are, when we're going that low. So you may feel betrayed. You may feel like there's a lot of, stuff going on that you didn't see before, and you feel either ashamed or you feel angry about those things coming forward. That's, what this 4th, 5th, and 6th chakra together, what they do. Now, at the same time, and this is the cool part, okay, is a 3rd and 7th chakra influx, meaning that you will be able to see the larger picture of things, okay, and at the same time also learn, how you are standing within this larger picture. So these fake identities that we have, the false selves and so forth, they will be illuminated, and you will recognize this more where you are not yourself. Okay, so standing up for yourself means you have to get to know this part of you first, but then you also have to have this resolve to stand up for what is true for you, what is working for you and what isn't. We had this really cool boundary workshop last week where we went through all of this in detail. So if you're a Sacred Self-Healing member, then please go into the forum and watch the recording. And as you do this, guys, all these false selves, they'll just fall off you, and you can't even remember why you wanted to be the world's greatest, healer or inventor or coach or business person or mother or whatever these identities are that you've taken on. You will not even know, what it was in you that made you want to become this. So that's the cool thing. It allows us to let go of all of these things. And the attachment here is really the key word for this 3rd and 7th chakra influx. Okay. Collectively, planetary, there's a lot going on that confirms what I'm saying. You just have to look. Just watch politicians, watch the Vatican, watch organized religion. All these things that they have been suppressing, or that they have been really sort of trying to where they've tried to steer you into the wrong direction, all this is falling apart right now, and their true motives become visible. So it can't be upheld anymore. Truth is now becoming stronger and stronger. Watch how they're struggling to defend or to justify things. It's funny. It's ridiculous. All right. So when you look at karma, there's also something like karmic justice, okay? And karmic justice is the reinstatement of divine order, meaning that the truth and the light and the love has to prevail, not because we want it to, because it's the higher vibratory energy. It's more powerful, okay? Now, physically, I've already talked about, the neurotransmitter part here that I'm also illuminating in the energy tips for March 2019. I want to quickly talk about your lymphatic system. This is, the part of your system that releases all toxins, and not just physical toxins, but along with the physical release of toxins, there's also an energetic clearing that takes place. So there's a limitation as to what energy clearing can do, guys, if this all still gets stuck in your system, in your physical system, all right? And to increase this, you can stimulate your lymphatic system. And one really, really cool way of doing this is cold and hot showers, or jumping into the cold water, or, going into the sauna and then going outside, things like that. Those are extremely helpful and very, very conducive next week. Also, pay attention to your parasympathetic nervous system and how this relates to some of your body functions. And I've put up a graph here for you. I don't want to talk about this today. Emotionally, like I've said, it's a deep emotional processing that is happening here in this next week, and this can help us to release this core guilt and core shame, this core trauma. All right, this can be a really, really soft and beautiful process. So, enjoy, you being able to really reclaim these soul parts that have been taken away from you, or that you have given away. If you are not the talker type, then write things down. Or lately I've been recommending to people to record things, to voice record things on their phone. If this is safe enough for you, for data-wise, if you don't want anybody else to listen to this. It's all about detaching from these emotions while simultaneously witnessing them. So it's like, allow yourself to feel your pain, but then watch these mechanisms that are happening as the pain comes in. And there's this pain memory in you, right, that's stored in your 8th chakra field, in your pain body, that triggers these spirals, these tapes, these recordings, these patterns in you. Watch them, okay? Watch them, because that's how you can learn more about yourself. That's how you can become more compassionate with yourself, and more self-forgiving too. Now, mentally, and that's the part here, as an energetic, sensitive, or empath person, that you need to understand is actually something really cool. Now, some of you complain, and I do too sometimes, that I wish I was as naive as I was 30, 40 years ago. But you can't really turn this back, okay? So, you can see truth, and there is no way for you to deny things anymore, okay? So you've got to really accept that part. But there are things in our system, nervous system, as well as our behavior and psychological makeup and our psyche, okay, that allow us to detect these things. And those are cognitive dissonances. When I talk about incongruencies, guys, when I talk about these inner contradictions, these inner red flags, these inner promptings, and for you as empaths or energetically sensitives, this often goes physical first. But you can also feel this in your critical inner voice, obviously. That is a sign for you that some of your true self safety bolts or security systems are tripped. All right, this means there's something going on. And for me personally, whenever I start ruminating about something, or whenever I feel like, should I or should I know, whenever I'm not sure, I know that I have cognitive dissonances, and then I go into the conflict itself. I don't try to focus on a fix or solution. I take a step back, I observe, I make sure I don't absorb. All right, and in that observing my own critical inner voice, observing my own inner judge, I am finding the answer. I'm sure many of you have had this before, like when you want to make a decision and you're not sure. Let's say, you texting or emailing me, right? And you're asking, should I do this or blah, 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 and it's so funny for me because I can already see, you already know the answer, okay? You have the red flag, you already have the or. You already know, what part of your potential decision is good and what is not. You just need to learn to trust in this a little more, okay? So pay attention to your decision making here next week, because that can be a little skewed if you go into these lower vibratory emotional states. All right, and even if you do this for the sake of practicing and exposing yourself to your own emotional spirals, then understand that you really shouldn't make any decisions in that state, okay? Just delay that. You don't need to fix something. If you want to understand yourself better, then delay the decision making, right? Now, in relationships, this is can be interesting here next week, because with all this truth coming in, all the glamour is falling off of those projectors in our lives, even ourselves a bit, So what is glamour? Glamour is a projection of grandiosity, of vanity, of superiority, of you can even project anger, you can even project victimhood, you can project anxiety and so forth. You can even project pain, all right? This is all part of glamour. All those are falling off us, okay? And you have been cued here to pay attention to this, but most other people are not really going to handle this very gracefully, okay? So there will be things that, where your partner or your kids or your parents or your boss or coworkers or your friends, but they're going to show their true colors here, because for a moment they can't control this, all right? And that's when you have to, take a good look and say, is this really important to me? Do I really want to work with a person like this? And of course, when it's your loved ones, that reminds you of boundary work. So you really have to work on, making clear to others what works for you and what doesn't work. And next week, you're going to feel this strength come in as an empath, as an energetically sensitive. You're going to feel somewhat at home, okay? And you're going to be able to pierce through lies and secrets and all that stuff with surgical precision, all right? Just, take a moment before you react to what you're discovering. Always make sure you understand that everybody has trauma, everybody has, insufficient parents, everybody has shadow, everybody has an ego, everybody has coping, all right? So understand that. Also, I wanted to point out that this time here next week where we feel at home, it can lead to us caving in a bit, and watching sappy movies or going into this really, really deep processing place with ourselves. That's okay. But remember, there is something really positive about human connection, okay? Our entire physiology, our neurological system is designed to connect with other people. And even if you don't want to talk, or if you don't want to connect with anyone directly, don't underestimate the importance of human connection, just sort of by their presence. So if you are, taking the time to go deep next week, which is okay, make sure that you're not isolating yourself. Go out, go in a coffee shop, put your headphones on, listen to workshops or YouTube videos, do this, but allow people to be there. This attitude, that people's emotions and energies are toxic for you in general is not very sophisticated, guys. That comes from a place of victimization. And the victimization comes from a place of you not understanding your own energies and the interaction of energies fully yet. So, don't point at other people, okay? If you constantly absorbing other people's stuff, well, then there is something in your energy system that needs to be looked at, right? So, allow this. You don't need to be afraid of this. Most of you are at a place where you can actually shield this off quite well. And if not, then I recommend you to do these training, healing sessions that we do here, 20, 25 a month, to train this. All right, this is what we have, this empath training and the trauma healing and all this, the Heart Warrior program and training club and so spiritual 10-day challenge and whatnot. This is what all this is for, right? Now, spiritually, this can be interesting because it goes really, really deep. And those of you who have a strong spiritual connection, and again, I'm not really talking about religion, but, this can also be religious. You're going to have thoughts come in like, where are we at species, as a whole collective, and what is my contribution here, and what is divine order, and what is karmic justice, and how can I redeem myself? How can I work with these karmic aspects that I'm bringing in, and what does this contribute to the collective? So, guys, every time you fight against something, every time you rebel, you get all, pulled into like wanting to be right, wanting to be more special or whatever. You are energizing ego, and you're also energizing the collective ego with this. So if you want this to go faster, well, then work on yourself and tell all your friends. Okay, this is about as far as it goes. Now, your energetic power drastically increases with you transcending your ego, and therefore the reach that you have and the radiance you have for people goes so much farther. And you can reach people, that you don't even know, through the people that you influence, through the people that you come in contact with, through the people that you help, not by trying to fix or heal them, but by you becoming healed and by you including them in the healing process. So energetically, you already get the gist here. It's all about inner energies. It's all about the energetic ties, some of which you are unaware of, which comes from family and karmic relationships and sort of the karmic stuff that you brought in. Some of it came in through your behaviors and through your worldview, and through separating yourself from others or not feeling good enough about yourself. So you need to continue working on differentiating your sensations, emotions, and feelings if you are at the very beginning of this empath training, okay? You may have strong visions, really deep dreams, lucid dreaming next week, okay? Don't get mesmerized, all right? Just because you're seeing things doesn't make it more true. Just because you're not seeing it doesn't mean that it's not there, all right? And just everything you see, everything you feel is real, but just because it's real doesn't mean it's true. So those are sort of my mantras here. Pay a little attention to the energetic dynamics that are happening between you and other people when you go into this false identification, when you start to justify, when you start to debate, when you start to defend, okay, because this is where you can observe life, how your energy gets pulled into a negative spiral, how you lose your power. All right, guys, this concludes the energy tips for next week. We have really cool things coming up next weekend, a chakra intensive, 3 days in learning everything about chakras, even about those that you didn't even know existed. So there's 14 chakras, yes, not just 7 and not just 12, there's 14. We can see them, we can work with them. So you're going to learn that in the intensive. We are putting the emphasis on trauma healing here this month. So we have grace integrity and the codependency healing and new transmission, trauma healing. So all this is exciting. I hope to see you. I hope you join. And if you if this resonates with you, if you are thinking about really wanting to break through some of these things, and I can only emphasize this enough, guys, this is not just some woo-woo stuff here. This is really about breaking through some of these things that that have been holding you back all your life, that affect your financials, that affect your relationships, that affect your entire success in life, and the fulfillment and the purpose that you want to feel. All right, so this isn't just like a retreat type of thing. This is 90 days working with Jeff and I directly, personally, breaking through some of these layers that you can't break through yourself. So check out the new trauma healing, the codependency healing, the empath training, and the healers healing. All right, and share the videos, please. Thank you so much. See you next week.